Voltron Network.
And we're up. What's good, guys? Welcome back. Talking at the movies, I ain't screaming today. I got a bit of a sore throat and it's too damn hot. Still got to wear a hat though because I haven't cut my hair. Finally, the quarantine stuff's catching up. But I've even got a little fan on my lap, guys. Check it out. Can't even do about this.
Do you normally cut your own hair?
Yeah, but I haven't had time. It's been working and a bit lazy.
But isn't it literally standing in front of a mirror and just going zzz, like literally?
Like then you have to plug things in, have to charge the thing. I just can't be asked. But I'll do it later. But anyway, we're back. What's been happening?
What's been happening, man? It's like hotter than the tarnations of hell. I went outside at some point at lunchtime today to check the mail, and I literally felt like the sun. I felt like I was walking on the sun.
It's crazy. Like at the house, they started doing the garden, and part of me was like, I should be a gentleman. I should go out and help them. It's so hot. I just can't.
Did you just open the blinds and just stand and watch?
I closed the blinds so they couldn't see me watching telly. What? I ain't doing the lawnmower and all that shit when it's heat.
And all the food that you get delivered.
I know, man. I know. I feel bad. Don't make me feel guilty. I'm Idris Antonio.
And I'm Mo.
So, this week on Talking at the Movies, we're going to be getting to a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of perverts out there in the industry. What was the segment called again when we were doing it, Mo?
Well, we used to call it the Perv Report. And this is what it's come to, folks. The news has dried out. We're now going to be talking about celebrity gossip, right? We're not talking about like the Weinstein-style scandal. We are talking about low-level sitcom stars.
I don't know. There's a lot of people talking about this. We're going to get into a bunch of stuff. Cobra Kai, Tarantino. There ain't that much news just like last week, but still, we're just going to keep chatting.
But we'll make it entertaining anyway.
Don't promise too much more. Come on. You have to undersell yourself and then surprise them.
We wouldn't have survived to episode 199 if we weren't entertaining.
That's so crazy. How have we been going that long? I swear we're supposed to only get like 5 episodes in and then give up.
Give up, mate. We're going to be going. Our next milestone is like 500. Don't worry, we'll be there.
Again, you're promising too much more. Terrible lover, you must be. Alright, so what shall we start with? Trailers, what you been watching?
Oh, should we do what we've been watching? You gave me some homework last week. I really hate homework.
And you watched them both?
I watched them both.
So, guys, just a little backstory. Mo's notorious for having these missing gaps in his what must be seen movies, which he seems to have just glazed over in his life. So he's never seen Alien, the original, the movie that started the whole sci-fi horror genre. So he had to catch up on that and then watch the follow-up Aliens and to compare the two, see which one he thought was best, which you had seen, but you didn't remember it pretty much.
A long time. Yeah, I literally remember nothing about it, other than the fact it's got Sigourney Weaver and it's directed by James Cameron.
That's it. So you remember that? So jump into it, man. Alien.
Right. So 1978, Alien, right? Recently been given a beautiful restoration, 4K, the one that started it all. Now, I don't know what it is, but like I was just put off by the Alien franchise because it always just came across as more as a horror film type thing than it's like an actual science fiction film, right? So I was just never really interested. Anyway, whacked it on Friday night over dinner. I will say, I thought the first 20 to 25 minutes really have aged badly, right? I think Star Wars suffers from the same thing. I bet in 78, it was really fresh and people had never seen anything like this. Whereas you watch it now...
Is it the technology aspect, like their computers and all that stuff?
No, I mean, the computers look a little bit dated, but that's not what I mean. I mean, it's like the pacing of movies has just changed, right? So that first 20, 25 minutes is very... There's little dialogue. It's very glacial. It just like moves at like a real...
That's the 70s thing, though. Yeah. That's the 70s thing. They had patience to just let things breathe, which I kind of like.
It's not about patience, right? It's more about like the movie making process has just changed, right? So back in 78...
audience has changed.
No. George Lucas actually said it the best. He goes like, even when he now watches A New Hope back, he goes in the 70s, people weren't accustomed to seeing droids. They didn't know what like Darth Vader was. They didn't really get to see spaceships at that level. So it was all brand new to them. He goes, like, fast forward 30 odd years later when he was doing this interview, he goes, people are very used to these things. So, like, the first 20, 25 minutes of, like, A New Hope seem quite pedestrian now.
You don't trust anything George Lucas says when it comes to going back and redoing things, because we've seen what he does when he goes back and redoes things.
But like,
Bollocks
regardless of what you think of George Lucas, the man has like he's like a director who's done some very, very great things, and I actually really do agree with what he said there. I think the actual way movies have been made over the last has changed drastically.
I prefer to say the audience has changed, that they're just less patient to just
When was the last time you watched Alien?
Probably about 2 years ago.
Really?
I did them all. Yeah. What I like about that pace of how it starts is that you're more like a fly in the wall, because the way they act is very un-actor-like. It's more natural. You're kind of just watching these people just go about their lives on this spaceship, which is very dull and boring, kind of, which actually makes it more dramatic for when things actually start to happen.
Yeah, well, there you go. It is dull. You've just said, like, if that's the aim, they've achieved it. But the minute they come back onto the ship, so you know when they're like banging on the door and they're saying, "Let us in," and Sigourney Weaver just won't let them in, and the dude's got like the alien wrapped around his face. So what this film really does well, it makes you think, like, if I was in that situation, I would be absolutely shitting myself, right? I would not want to be in the operating room for a start. Yeah, I know the poor guy's got something wrapped around his face and he's having the worst of it, but actually being on the other side of the glass watching all of that must be a really scary experience.
Well, first things first, you go onto an alien planet, into an alien ship. You don't start poking anything that looks fleshy, anything that looks alive, the eggs.
Oh,
well, to open up. You don't just look into it.
And the same thing happened in Prometheus.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say these guys just seemed a lot smarter than the Prometheus crew.
Yeah.
They actually they did actually act like they had a brain cell between them.
So what did you think when when they're like trapped in that medical, I'm trying to remember the order of things. Was it the face hugger first that was running around in that medical room where they were locked in?
Yeah. So it basically like spits and the acid comes out and it goes like right through the floor and stuff like that, right? Then it runs away. And then Matey Boy suddenly is okay after a little while, right? So they're all like having dinner and chilling and like whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like
boom on the table. Yeah.
Oh, and out of pure coincidence, obviously I was watching that on the day that Ian Holmes died.
Yes.
And obviously he is in that film looking drastically young.
Yeah, and also the actor that was the one who had the alien in him, he also died a couple of years ago. So not many of them are alive. I think the black guy's already dead. Yeah, I think Sigourney's the only one that's still around, and maybe the woman as well, the other woman.
Oh, crikey, okay. But like once you get to that bit with the face hugging, it's just a rip-roaring fun ride of just some of like your worst nightmares, right? You always have this fantasy, I want to go into space, and then you think, this is the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
You'll be the last fucker alive, can't fix anything, and basically you're a cat lover, so you'll probably end up like kill yourself trying to save the cat.
That's just you. That it is claustrophobic, but I like one thing that's interesting about this one is that it's very reserved with the alien. You barely see the alien at all.
Yep. And they do the whole you can see it a mile off, right? So when she eventually like tackles a problem, gets off the shuttle, and by the way, who the hell designs a self-destruct system that you can't shut off before 5 minutes of the ship being destroyed? If you ever watch Star Trek, and they always like disable it when it's down to like the last second.
Yeah, but that's the worst though. That's I always hate that though. It always goes down to like that the 1 second. I like the fact that you set it off and that's it. You're done. You got to run.
No, well, this one is like you have like it was a 10-minute self-destruct, but after 5 minutes you can't turn it off, and it's like that's so badly designed. But anyway, when she gets onto like her escape shuttle, and she's like, "Oh, I made it. I'm relieved. I did it." And then you kind of like, "Oh no, you didn't, did you? It's fucking here with you, isn't it?"
Yeah. Then we get slipping into the suit and everything.
Yeah.
So what do you
Actually,
think?
really enjoyed it. Let me talk about Aliens before I come back to say which one I thought was better and the scoring. So, a couple of nights later, I fired up Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
What I really love was the fact that it literally just carries on from where the first film ended, right?
What's the strong point of Aliens is that it does something which not many sequels are able to do. It's a sequel where simultaneously it carries on right from
Yep.
the last movie, and you can watch
Yep.
it in one go with the other one. But also, if you've never seen the first one, theoretically, you could just watch that one, and you have everything you need, all the information, and
Yes.
it works on its own.
Yeah. And the other thing that I really liked was it's a sequel, but it doesn't retread the same ground, right?
So
It does it completely different.
completely
You
different.
actually get a completely different
It's
experience
an
than the
action
first
movie.
film.
Yeah.
It is a pure action film, and it's not like a dumb action film. Although I will say there is some terrible acting from the Marines in it, but it's kind of charming.
Yeah, it's great to point out Alien. If you've never seen either of them, Ridley Scott did the first one in the '70s, late '70s,
Yeah, 78, I think it came
'78.
out.
Yeah, and James Cameron did
Aliens,
Aliens a couple of years later.
86.
Oh, quite a
80,
way,
yeah,
quite
quite
a
a way.
gap.
And then apparently he did a director's cut. So now I actually want to track down the Alien anthology box set. I've seen it like £26, but on eBay I think you can get it for less than a tenner if you snipe someone.
What's in there? Which
So
films?
it's got Alien, Alien 2, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection. It's got the directors and the theatrical cuts, and then there are 2 additional discs, which is like behind the scenes bonus features.
So
So
two
like for
good
10 quid.
films, 2 shit films.
So, but yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. So, Aliens. Um, Fuck me. This is like an absolutely just incredible action film. I really cannot believe that this isn't on like regular rotation once every few years at my place. It will be now.
You
Absolutely.
think why I was so shocked when you
It
said you,
is,
you can't remember
it's
it.
one of those films where, if you reach for your phone, you put it back down because you're so engrossed in the film
And,
that you don't want any distractions or anything.
and do you suddenly get certain references that are in other pop culture shows or movies where they kind of spoof some of the aliens things, like the big mech suit that she's around it? Did it suddenly think, oh, so that's where they got that from? Did it certain things like
Uh,
to click like that?
It probably will be if I now see those in future.
Okay.
And you talk about that mech suit, right? There was that bit at the beginning where she goes, I can drive one of those. And you kind of think, that's a scene that really should have ended up on the cutting room floor. What point does it have? And then towards the end, like even before you see the suit, you're like, I bet she's in the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just they cover so much of stuff in that. They cover. I love seeing Paul Reiser as a sleazy bad guy because you only ever see him through his whole career as like a sitcom guy. You only ever see him in like funny stuff.
Mm.
I think this is like the one and the only time I actually remember him being like the bad guy in a serious role, and he actually played it really well without being cutthroat and sleazy. He seems like a really nice, genuine guy, right? Right up until he really fucks things up by, casually just turning off the monitor.
Yep. Son of a bitch. What do you think of the Space
Oh,
Marines in their
um,
interesting little dynamic?
yeah, they just seem really fucked up. I was like, are these like reject Marines that couldn't join the actual army, so they had to join like a space wing because they weren't disciplined. They were just like real talkback attitude problems.
Yeah.
But the whole dynamic really works, right? Because when push came to shove, they fucking had their firepower out, and some of them gave their lives for the cause.
How cool
Um,
was what was the name? Was it Velasquez?
oh yes,
Shit. She was
yeah. She
cool.
was very
I
very
liked it.
cool. She was
And
very
Was
cool.
it Bill Pullman as well? Bill Pullman?
As as it was it Paxman?
Paxman. There you go.
Yeah,
Another one that's
yeah,
passed too soon, man.
yeah.
Too many of them gone.
Like he died very early in age.
Yeah.
Um, but apparently there is a director's cut to this, which I really now need to check out. Hence why I want to buy like the box set. But absolutely, like I will be first to say I thank you for pushing me to watch these, Eddie, because both of those they're obviously like iconic movies. and I really, really enjoyed watching both of them. It's an experience that so few new films give you.
Mm.
And the
What
fact,
about when you see the Queen? The
oh my
the
lord,
size when she just
that
climbs out.
bit
Like,
at the end,
oh,
wow, that, yeah, absolutely, that was just like holy fuck.
crazy.
Uh, Crazy, crazy stuff. Sigourney Weaver, I gotta hand it to her, man. Like, just she's an absolutely amazing actress in these films.
Wicked.
She's like the original kind of like
Yeah,
female hero, right? And she doesn't do it in a way where she's condescending and puts people down. She just gets shit done.
yeah, or beating guys down. Like, regardless
Yeah,
of the image, you know, she's not muscular or anything, but
yeah,
she's a badass
yeah,
chick regardless.
yeah,
She just
yeah.
makes it work and it's believable.
And the thing, there's this thing where for most of both films, they manage to use this very attractive woman and not sexualize her. But then in both films, they at least have one scene where kind of like they've got her in a
The
t-shirt and
vest.
underwear,
Yeah,
and
it's
the
true.
camera's lingering for too long, and you kind of think, come on, guys, you managed to do it for so long, and you've like kind
Come
of. I mean, hey,
on.
on the one side, as a guy, it's great to see it, but on the other side, it's like you wouldn't do that to a guy.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Whenever guys got ripped abs, they always make sure they get a shot with his shirt off and he's flexing. Come on.
Yeah.
It's all there.
But I really do now. So what I've done over the like last night while I was browsing some forums at like I think 1 a.m. Apparently, like in the US, people are finding it very hard to get hold of Prometheus and the sequel, because apparently they're Fox films. Obviously, Fox aren't really
Yeah.
restocking, so prices for Prometheus are like at $50. So on Zavi, I noticed they had both films for 25 quid on 4K. Fucking order them both. I
Get
goes
'em.
those are only, yeah, they're only going to go up in price, aren't they? Once stock's all gone.
Do have my Prometheus as well. I always want to dig that out. But do you understand now why those films, the potential of the Alien franchise, why they do
Oh
keep trying to resurrect this thing? Because when it's good, it can be
yeah,
great when it's done right.
yes. So we were probably have to have this discussion again after I've watched Alien 3 and Resurrection.
Yeah.
And I know three divided the fan base, and it's considered pretty bad.
There's a
But some
big
people seem
story
to
with
love it.
that, though, that you
Yeah,
should probably dig into. There's a big story that there was a Joss Whedon script that wasn't used. I think he
yeah,
did actually write some of what got made, but he had a whole
yeah.
complete other version of it. So it's one of
Right.
those ones which got made by committee producers, so they kept
Yeah,
changing things and all this. Yeah, so that's the
yeah.
problem with that one.
Cool. Alien Resurrection, which I know is universally hated, but I guess now I'm down that journey. I need to see it, and then I want to rewatch Prometheus, and I haven't actually seen the other one. Was it Covenant or something?
Covenant, yeah. It wasn't bad. It wasn't
Because
actually that bad, to be honest.
yeah, because I think they will fit better now. Because actually watching these two, you can.
Mm.
I'm having flashbacks to Prometheus, thinking,
Space jockeys. That's what the whole
yeah,
big thing that they walked into that room that
yeah.
was sitting in that chair. Yeah, that's the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that will be kind of interesting now to like go just watch that whole lot. But yeah, loved it. I think there seems to be a big divide as to what people think is a better film. And I've seen some people say, well, until I got to my 30s, I always used to think Aliens was the better film, but I know now it's Alien.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
always this battle. Some people
yeah,
like the psychological thriller and the
yeah.
subtleties and the artistic approach of Alien, but then Aliens is so much damn fun
Oh,
and it's so
it is. It
quotable.
is. I will say in this juncture that I'm at the moment, maybe years from now where I've seen the films many, many times, I'll change my mind. But I think Aliens is my preferred film.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I can't disagree with
Yeah,
that. It's just too much fun.
yeah.
I love it.
I think I would give probably Aliens. I would give it like a 4.5.
Mm.
And Alien itself, I'd say is easily a 4 as well. Hence why I'm giving Aliens 4.5, because just to differentiate, one's better than the other.
Yeah.
But both are great films.
Yeah. See, this is what I like. This is what I mean, Mo. When you watch these movies for the first time, you have to save it for a special thing where we can review them properly like this. I like this. It's fun. It's fun.
Oh yeah, loved it. Those two films are even more pushing me to like. I've got this voice in the back of my head that's saying, "Mo, buy that 77-inch TV, stick it on the wall, create your own cinema."
Jesus Christ. You don't need a bigger telly, dude.
I do. I fucking do.
Enough. So, are you gonna go straight in? Is next week gonna be 3 and 4?
It all depends, because I also today, so yesterday, this is how quick this guy sent this out to me. I managed to find a 4K copy of Predator, sealed, brand new. The guy sold it to me for 11 quid. It arrived today.
And you've never seen that?
I've never seen Predator, so I might do that for next week.
And you haven't seen number 2? Dude, you got to do 2 as well then. You might as well.
Oh,
You may as well.
Okay.
Come on.
I'll see if I can track down a copy of 2 then.
Voodoo magic man. People who see the film know what I'm talking about.
I did see a trailer last night for Predator versus Alien because I was just really curious as to what that was all about. And I was like, so Predator and Alien are in the same universe?
They just shit the bed so much for these films, man. But yeah, you got to do 1 and 2 then. So next week we do that, and then you can go back to the Alien franchise afterwards.
Rightio. Okay, cool. So moving away from Alien, I watched Saturday night. I broke it up, so I didn't have to watch 2 Alien films in a row. I watched the 2000 comedy classic Road Trip. I won't linger on that too much, but I will say, Sean William Scott literally has only ever played Stifler in every film he's ever been in. Like, there's a guy who's been typecast. I'm not entirely sure the film's aged particularly well, but it may be that the film wasn't great to begin with, but it's an enjoyable, like, Sunday night romp that's got some real great laughs.
It is one of those easy to just lay back, like it's in the zone of the American Pies, and you just kind of just relax and watch it without really thinking too much.
It's got so many people that go on to do other things, and it's got like Amy Smart in it as well, and the story itself is pretty cool. One thing I realized watching that film, Tom Green as well, is they don't really ever go into it. But Amy Smart's character, she's actually a psycho in that film because she spends one night with this guy, she gets obsessed with him, and when she thinks that he's gone to see his girlfriend, she tries to find out where his girlfriend has gone to school, what her name is, gets the information mixed up, goes to another school, accidentally finds a woman with the same name, and says to her, your boyfriend's cheating on you with me.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot all about that. It's weird how when you're younger, you don't even think about that, but thinking about it now,
she's like an absolute, you're just thinking, that's not right. Like, a woman after one night should not be doing something like that. That's obsessive behavior.
Where are these women? Because I would gladly entertain that. Like, where are the hot girls who are also crazy and obsessive? Like, give me. I'm ready for that.
Well, you need to leave home and actually go out to like bars and stuff, Eddie, to like meet people.
They need to open first.
There is that as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, pubs are supposed to reopen, right? And you're supposed to order drinks at your table from an app. Like, what pub is going to be able to like spin up an app?
Especially around here. This is England, man. Especially in this part of London. Most of the pubs are run by old people that have no idea how to run a freaking app.
Have you ever been into a pub like on an evening, like on a Friday night? They are rammed. They are absolutely... The amount of pubs that are like in the city, like where I work, and you go to any pub after work, there's never any place in them. Yeah. I checked out. I don't know why, at some point during the week while I was having lunch, I decided to start another run of It's Always Sunny.
Dude, I never stop. I just continue all the time. I love it. It's my go-to background TV show.
Do you remember what the name of the first episode is?
Is that the one where they make a black friend? Something about the diversity thing.
The gang gets racist, and they've got the black guy who is gay as well, who promotes the pub and turns it into like a gay bar.
He fucking hits on what's his face at the same time. I'm surprised they haven't got rid of that episode. They got rid of the other one. I'm surprised they did keep that one, but thank God they did.
Yeah, it starts off about like being racist towards black guys, and then turns into like a homophobic episode.
Love it. Always Sunny. Guys, if you never watched it, just jump in, man.
So funny. So I probably will be starting a run of that now that Buffy is over. I watched the last episode last night. My God, there is a hole in my heart right now. I really feel like just starting all over again.
Dude, you could go into the comics. They continue. Joss Whedon continued the story.
It's not the same, though.
It gives it to weak places, I'll tell you that much. I didn't read it for a while.
Imagine, yeah. But I did like the end of that last episode. You know, it kind of really ends like on a high. On it leaves you wanting more. It's not ending as in I'm really glad that's over now.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah, because it ends with all the young girls of the world become slayers, and I
Yep,
didn't
yep,
like
yep.
that. I didn't like that.
Yeah, and it ends with like all of Sunnydale sinking into the Hellmouth,
Yeah.
and they're standing there. And the one thing that I'm thinking, no one ever mentions when Buffy never ever goes, "My house is gone."
That's true. A little peek though, if you are curious to see where it went in the comics, I think they ended up going to like Scotland or Germany or somewhere.
As you do, right?
Yeah, and Buffy was the head of an army of slayers because they all just congregated to her. So she has this whole army of this.
That would be like an interesting story. I would actually quite like that. If I hope in this reboot reimagining, because they said it is a sequel. They're not like dumping everything that's come before. I hope that they carry on some of that, like that there are more Slayers.
I don't want that because you don't want. I think what I like is that Slayers are special. That there's only one at a time, and I like the whole thing of one dies, another one comes. I don't like it when there's just all over the place. You have Slayer of the Week. It's like the Flash, where you have the speedster every season.
That would be cool. No, wasn't it like really cool whenever Faith was around? And I like the fact that Faith was there from the third. And she was there at she was still there at the end. That was really, really nice.
But it was logical because Buffy did die technically and then come back.
Yeah.
So it made sense. So they didn't overdo it.
Right. I wanted to talk to you about something. So I watched, like I think an 8-minute clip on YouTube in 4K 60 frames per second, right, of the Gemini Man. Now I know you've seen the Gemini Man. I can't remember if you saw it at the cinema.
Is this the Charlton Heston? Oh, you mean the Will Smith one?
Will Smith, right? Did you see it at the cinema?
I didn't go to the cinema, but I did watch it.
So, did you watch a 60 frames per second one?
No, I don't like 60 frames. I remember seeing Hobby at 60 frames.
If you can find a clip on, there are some clips on YouTube. Go and just have a watch at some point. It is the strangest experience. It's not quite like The Hobbit, because I think The Hobbit was 48 frames per second, so they've added more. But it's like, imagine if you sat by your window and looked and watched a movie like in your garden or something. That's what it was like. It was like, this is just way too real.
I don't like it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's a very, very, very strange look.
I want cinema to have that filmic look of that certain just otherworldly thing. I don't want it to look like, I'm looking at my hands.
Do you not think that at some point, like, movie technology is just going to move on and 24 frames per second will be a thing that some, like the Nolans and the Tarantinos of this world do, and everyone else moves along to this new technology?
It's possible because, with people with gaming and all of that, everyone wanted to push it and a higher frame rate.
Yeah.
I guess you can have the next generation after us that really get used to that look, and they'll just be happy to watch movies and TV in that frame rate, but not for a while. Not at least another generation or two. Trailer Park.
Hold on, I need to bring up the playlist here. I can't even remember which ones are which now. I was just surprised at the sheer volume of trailers this week.
Okay, I'll get you. We've got Lost Bullet, which is like a French Fast and Furious. This is what the Fast and Furious should still be. This is what I'm talking about. It's grounded action, adrenaline rush. I
did want to send this to Salim, but I think he wouldn't watch it as soon as he saw the subtitles.
Yeah, as soon as he hears the whole pourquoi?
Yeah. I was actually genuinely. I thought, you know what? This looks like a good, like, cheesy action film, right? It'll be like 2 hours, and it's not over the top. Yeah, it doesn't look like, when you saw Six Underground trailer, I knew immediately that I wasn't going to enjoy this. With this, I was like, it's French. French films, there's very rarely I'll watch a French film and think that was crap.
I used to watch a lot of French film back in the days when we were still having movies on VHS. Yeah. And I just kind of fell off watching them. But yeah, this is kind of after our last couple of rewatches with, Keaton and all of that. I'm really in the vein of wanting to watch more French films now. So this looks good though. French action films is that ain't a common thing. So what's it? Lost Bullet, guys. Check out that trailer. It's on Netflix. It's going to be on Netflix in a couple of months.
I don't actually know if they gave a date at the end of the trailer.
But it looked damn good, so I'm into it.
Yeah, but if they're showing a trailer,
to this Vin Diesel. If you're gonna keep making bloody Fast and Furious, this is the shit you should be making.
Right. So next up we have Warrior Nun.
we actually spoke about this last week because I confused this with
You did, didn't you? I
with
was like,
the other one.
after I watched this trailer, I was like, Eddie watched this trailer as opposed to the one that I actually put on the
Yeah.
list.
You get why I got confused though, because isn't they on the surface, poster wise, you just got a girl with a sword. They look identical. That's what you're gonna think of.
That's why you were talking, and I was like, I don't remember any of this stuff from the trailer. But then I thought maybe that's just me because I didn't take anything from the trailer in. And then you started talking about warrior nuns, and I was like, I did not get that from the trailer.
Yeah, because I did actually later on in the week see, is it called Cursed?
Yeah.
And then I thought, actually, this isn't what I was seeing. And I just looked at it, oh shit, I took that the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Which it actually looked, I get what you were saying, it looked stylish.
Yeah, but nothing else.
It looks a bit hollow.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying about this though. It looked like it could be fun, but you never know because it's just teenies.
So I was watching it and I was kind of like really hoping that I get a Buffy vibe out of this because essentially it's like a young teenage girl fighting the forces of evil.
Problem is, Buffy had Joss Whedon, someone who has an identity with his writing, and this kind of looked generic. Again, stylized, but it just looked simple.
I will give it the benefit of the doubt because the one thing that you can always guarantee is that Netflix's trailers are horrendously horrible. They do very little to actually attract you to the show.
Yeah, sometimes. And then we got The Kingsman, the new trailer. I guess they have to revamp everything because, it would have probably been out by now.
Well, I don't know when the original date was, but this is coming out September, right?
Okay, I don't remember when the original date was, but they were already pushing it quite a bit before this. There was 2 trailers out, and then this happened, and now they're kind of having to revamp it up. But still, cool trailer. Still looks fun. I still don't like the main guy though. I still don't like the main eggsy type that they've got. He looks too much of a toff. For those that don't outside of England, toff is like a posh guy, but's like weedy and just not worth the air he breathes.
There's nothing in this trailer that makes me excited to watch this film, though.
Same director. The action still looks fun. And I like the Kingsman films. They're always enjoyable.
Yeah, hopefully they're just a bad trailer. I've just realised it's 20th Century Fox, so maybe I should track down the original 2 before they go out of print.
That's true. And then something which really kind of, I was very surprised. Foundation.
Yes, now fuck me.
This looks frigging good. Hard grown-up sci-fi, the way I like it. One thing, have you ever heard of this before, though, Mo?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never actually read the books, but I know it's quite revered within like science fiction circles.
This is one which has just passed me by then because I love sci-fi. I love Dune and all of that shit. Yeah. But somehow, when they were talking in the beginning of this, where they're like, "This is the regarded as the greatest sci-fi," I'm thinking, "What the fuck? I ain't never heard of this." Like, this is what went into creating Star Wars. Like, no, it was all Japanese movies and shit. Like, what's this guy talking at? But apparently, it's a big series of books.
It's a series of books, but if you look at the synopsis that they've got on IMDb, you can think, yeah, that is Star Wars, right? Because it's about people who lives on hundreds of different worlds under one empire.
Yeah, I did not say the trailer where they talk about the empires coming to them.
Yeah.
But it looked very nice. I was very impressed by this.
This looked money. This would tempt me potentially to at least pirate the show. If not actually subscribe, right?
That's it.
For the duration.
We've started a bunch of the Apple Plus shows. We haven't finished a single one.
No, absolutely none of them whatsoever. I might give Amazing Stories a try. The space one at least had some promise, but yeah, none of them like got me to go back.
Yeah, found a. Is there a date on this one?
2021.
Oh, fuck.
So it could be like a year from now. It could be like at the end of 2021.
The world's gonna be gone. India and China are gonna kick things off, and then the world's done. We ain't gonna have nothing. Once the war starts.
That's why you just stay inside.
Oh, man, too long. I only put out trailers a week before fighting's gonna come out. I don't want to wait anymore. I don't like this.
I know, but that does look incredibly impressive. It looks like they've spent a ton of money.
All the money. And then we checked out the comeback of Orlando Bloom. Granted, he was on that Amazon show, which I'm blanking on the name. But
I know the one you're talking about, with the fairies.
Yeah, the fantasy one, which I didn't finish. I had fun though to a degree, but the writing was really kind of janky for a lot of it, so I just ended up drifting off. But Retaliation, dark side of Orlando Bloom. This is what being with Katy Perry does to you.
He actually, as the trailer started, hold on, is he coupled up with Katy Perry?
Yeah, they got a baby. Or she's pregnant. She's about to have a baby.
Yeah. See, that's how much I care about celebrity gossip. I mean, I think the last celebrity couple that I really remember was like Brad and Jennifer.
Jesus.
That's how little I care about that stuff. But I started watching that trailer thinking, this just looks like a run-of-the-mill, like British, like, psycho gang in a jail, whatever. But as it went on, you're kind of like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, you start to keep going on about the church and when he was in church and why he's so angry and he wants revenge, and then he kind of clicks, this guy got interfered with and he's out for revenge against those old priests. So I'm into this. This looks fun. Kill them all.
Are you taking notes? Were you a churchgoer?
I was a Sunday school kid.
That actually explains a lot now. Explains a lot about your skewed view of the world.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, that looks cool. So I'm going to check that out.
Cool. Right. Forget the news.
Do it.
Right. So, YouTube Red, YouTube Premium, YouTube Scripted, whatever the fuck they're calling it, is done. Their last original scripted show is leaving the building. Cobra Kai, later this year, is moving to Netflix. Seasons 1 and 2 will be available later this year, and season 3 following shortly after.
I'm happy for that. And it may actually give me impetus to actually watch season 2, because I've never got around to it.
You haven't seen season 2
I never got around to it. I don't know, something about the whole YouTube platform and even just bootleg, I just couldn't be asked. But once it's there on Netflix, it's easy to watch it. But I'm still bummed that Impulse doesn't seem to be going there. Unless they kind of sneak it in without really saying nothing about it, then, who knows. But
I think that the thing with Impulse is no one was really talking about it. It didn't really generate any buzz.
And it deserved to, though, because I really liked it.
Whereas Cobra Kai was almost a phenomena.
Yeah, man. It tapped into everyone's nostalgia. Come on, everyone loved that shit.
I mean, like, even Salim watched it, right? And he watched it all the way through.
Yeah. So, I'm into it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's coming later this year. Right. So, let's talk about Quentin Tarantino for a moment here, right? Now, Quentin Tarantino is an authentic film guy, right? He doesn't really give a shit about home video. It's
not
all about the
money.
35 mil.
Something which always seems to confuse you, though. The idea of not being in this for money, but some people have integrity, Mo.
Well, I mean, he gets the best of both worlds. He still gets to make the money and still have his integrity, and he's a big dog, right? So I'd imagine if it was a lesser director, this story probably wouldn't have played out this way, right? So just let me set you the scene, right? So if we go back to Universal Studios, before Hateful Eight, so Hateful Eight, I think, eventually came out at Sony, and you'll probably understand why after this. So apparently, Tarantino met with a chap called Jeff Shell, who was the CEO of NBC Universal. And apparently, Tarantino is going on about that he really wants to do a film on 70mm, right? So generally in Hollywood, films used to get made in 35mm. Now it's all digital, right? So sort of like halfway through, maybe like from 2002 onwards, a lot of films were digital, right? They never really did them on film. But if you're like a Scorsese or a Tarantino or a Chris Nolan, you're a purist and you still do on film.
And it does make a difference, guys. If you don't think, just watch them films. Watch Blade Runner compared to the original, and you can see the difference, man.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you could go to like a place where if they scanned it in at 4K and you watch it on a 4K projector, although Tarantino will probably say you need to watch the original film reel. Anyway, they're having this discussion, right? And Tarantino is talking about how much he loves 70mm and that's what he wants to film this off, and he wants to have like screenings in 70mm. And then Jeff Shell turns around and says, what if you release this film on iPhones? And Tarantino's response was great. And they just simply walked out of the meeting. And you can imagine him doing that, right? You've seen him in enough movies. You've seen him in interviews, right? The man doesn't hold
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
You can literally
Even meeting fans, and they say something you don't like, he's just off. He's gone. You scream at you and then go.
I don't get that at all. Like, why the fuck would you release a movie on an iPhone? Like, that's the place. If you want to see Tarantino's new film, you've got to have an iPhone on a tiny little screen.
Typical outlook of an executive. That just shows they have no integrity for the art. They don't
Yeah.
understand the idea of it being an outlet for an artist. They just feel like money. What can get people talking? Oh, but films and iPhones. iPhones are kind of because what? How many years ago was Hateful Eight when it came out?
So Hateful Eight, I think, was 2011, 2012.
Okay, so that
Oh
peak of when
no! It was more recent than that, wasn't it? Like 2015 or 16.
something. But when
Yeah,
the idea of an iPhone was the phone.
yeah.
The prestige has rubbed off a little bit last few years, but yeah, it makes sense that they would want to do that. But obviously, what directors want to put their frigging film on a little?
Oh, I can imagine a less 2015. I can imagine a lesser director who probably didn't have the clout of
Well,
Tarantino.
say that, but don't forget Quibi. You remember that app? That's kind of
Oh,
dying, where it's just TV shows and movies, 10 minutes
deserves to
long
die.
for a mobile platform.
Deserves to die. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Just talking of iPhone, did you see any videos of iOS 14 codenamed Android?
I heard that saying it's meant to be like Android, but this shows you how much I don't care about iPhones anymore. I didn't bother watching. I used to always watch these. Now I just think,
Yeah,
okay.
you should go and check out the video because they've now got widgets and you can put them anywhere. They've now got an app library, like like your app drawer on Android.
And let me guess, they presented it like it was their idea and that no one's ever seen this before in life.
Like a revolutionary feature with their own little twist on it. So, obviously, continuing the whole cultural backlash, I was about to say blacklash, that we've been having. So, Sky has added a disclaimer to Aladdin, The Last Samurai, and more warning viewers of outdated attitudes.
Sky's a broadcasting network over here. If you know,
By Comcast.
Foreigners may not know. Yeah, see, this is kind of like what we're saying. Rather than just take something and just throw it into a vault and no one sees it or gets to talk about it and no discussion gets to come from this, you just put a disclaimer, explaining, maybe a little voiceover, and then just present it and let people, make their minds up and talk about it. And yeah, this is how you do it. I like this.
Are these films that deserve these disclaimers?
Well, Aladdin is a questionable portrayal of Arabs, so you have to definitely. Last Samurai.
Is that the new Aladdin?
Eva, it's the same story. It's identical.
Right. Okay. Right.
Last Samurai again. It's Tom Cruise being the savior of the Japanese samurai culture, and the white guy. So that's something which can say not that sensitive. And that was it. They said a few any others. So yeah, why not?
Yeah. So I found a internet forum posting where the guy had started a thread to say snowflakes are triggered by being offended, right? And I actually really enjoyed the amount of people that said it sounds like you're the one who's been triggered because you started a post being rather angry that they're putting like a disclaimer.
Yeah, when you're offended about other people being offended, then you become a whole hypocrite, and the snake is eating its tail there. It just kind of falls apart.
I guess on this one, I don't really have any strong feelings because the content is still there and you can still watch it.
Exactly.
I would be interested to see how big the disclaimer is and how long it goes on for.
Yeah. These things do seem to fall out of fashion after a while. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long it lasts.
And then continuing with that trend, so one of my favorite shows of like I was going to say last decade, but it's actually the decade before now, of the 2000s, was 30 Rock. Tina Fey, absolutely love Tina Fey. She's just like the ultimate female nerd, right? That's the kind of woman that you really want to meet, Eddie, not one of these like crazy psycho folks. She put a statement out, I think either yesterday or today, apologizing for the blackface episodes. I think it was actually yesterday. So they have now pulled at least, I think it's 2 episodes where there is blackface. They pulled them from streaming platforms, and they've pulled them from digital purchasing platforms as well. So like on Amazon, you can go and buy like a whole season. So those episodes are essentially out of circulation.
See, what's interesting is that does that also include people who have already bought it and then suddenly they go into the library and find that it's not there anymore?
That will be very interesting to find out, right? Because there have been stories in the past where companies have lost the licensing to a show or a movie, and suddenly people are saying this movie's gone from my digital locker.
Yeah, even with music, like I think iTunes have had that problem before, where people bought stuff and then it's gone. It's like, what the fuck? I paid for this.
Yeah, this will be very, very interesting. Actually, I'll keep an eye out for that because I would be as mad as hell if I've paid for something. I own it. Well, I own a license to watch it, I guess, right? While the company stays in business, but they can then just pull an episode. Hell, we're going to get onto a story in a minute where this morning, I was looking for a complete series of that 70s show on Blu-ray.
Oh, shit.
On eBay. I'm not entirely sure I agree with the blackface episodes being removed because
I don't even remember.
Never ever came across as racist. It had Tracy
Morgan
on there.
Yeah.
Who, if anything, was probably the most racist of characters because he had a movie called where he basically played whiteface and he was like honky grandma be tripping or something.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I really honestly don't remember the episode. I don't remember who it was that was in blackface.
Yep.
Remember?
I can't remember. I did read the synopsis. Apparently, one of them was a live episode that they did when some guy was supposed to be mimicking some radio host show from, like, I guess, a bygone era. But I didn't actually go and find out the synopsis of both. But I'm lucky I have access to all the 30 Rock shows, and those episodes will not be skipped in my household.
The thing is, was this something which people was there an outcry for it, which I imagine there wasn't, because I think most people forgot about this. This is something they just decided to do on their own.
I think it's more creators. I think it's more Tina Fey probably feeling either I get ahead of this before I get called out, or she's just genuinely thinking, you know what? In the current climate, I think I feel bad about what we did on this show. And again, I don't think the blackface was ever done as a racist thing on their show. There is an acting dynasty. Do you know about Danny Masterson and who his brother and who his sister is?
Is it Cyclops? Is that the guy?
No. So Danny Masterson's brother is the older brother in Malcolm in the Middle. Oh. And their sister is one of the. I don't know if she's still in, but she had a role in Walking Dead.
I hardly call them a dynasty.
I'll just say that. But actually,
they got by for a while.
How often do you hear about like all the siblings like being actors and stuff, and actually all going on? I mean, those were all big shows, right? That 70 shows was fairly popular. Yeah. Malcolm in the Middle was actually a huge show back in the day, and obviously Walking Dead's it's a phenomena that I don't seem to like watch anymore.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But do you want to take us through what Mr. Masterson has been allegedly accused, right? So this is allegedly accused of.
Well, he's been accused of raping 3 women. That is the whole gist of it. And this is kind of part of this bigger thing which is happening right now. If you look at the speaking out hashtag on Twitter and any social media, you'll see a whole bunch of stories of women coming forward about that. I originally came aware of all of this because it's happening with pro wrestling right now. Right. Where wrestlers all getting called out that they've raped other female wrestlers or fans, and it's obliterating the indie scene right now.
Really? I thought all those wrestlers would be like so cocked up on like steroids they wouldn't even be able to like get their equipment to work.
See, that was the 80s and 90s. Now they're all just like little skinny guys. They don't look the way they used to look back in the day. But and it's just obliterated that. That's been shocking enough. And then it started to bleed over into other aspects of entertainment. And Marston's one of those that got called out. So these women came out, and he does have a shady look about him. The fact that even in his private life, he pretty much always wears those sunglasses.
Oh, does he? Is he one of those?
Yeah. So, but it's always baffling that even when you're a celebrity, if these are true, we have to say that legally. But why would you? It must be some sort of mad kink that they have.
Well, yeah. I guess it's the whole. So I think on a lot of these shows, if you remember, I believe there was something quite similar on the Wonder Years as well. So if you think Fred Savage is like a really nice kind of guy, if you go and look into his background, you'll probably realize why he disappeared from acting and is now he disappeared for a while and he came back now as a director.
Yeah.
I think the problem is when you become the star of a show, people stop saying no to you, right? So you feel like you can have anything and everything. So when someone
Yeah.
does say no
Ego.
to you, you don't really know how to handle it, and you don't take rejection very well.
Something which has been slowly disappearing. The next guy's been called out. We also got caught in this a week ago. Chris D'Elia, one of the most successful comedians working right now. He's kind of below. He's a level below Chappelle and Bill Burr, but he's massive. His podcast is massive.
Yep.
A lot
So
of money.
I don't think I've ever seen his stand up, but his face is one of those faces that you just know you've seen in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, have you ever seen a show called Workaholics?
Yeah, I was about to get to that. That's why I was laying the groundwork first.
So I actually watched that episode last week.
Oh, God. Well, like I said, he's gotten to that point of being successful that he started to cross over and do acting. And he was in an episode of Workaholics where he played, Mo, what is it? A pedophile.
So basically, I think the episode is even called To Catch a Predator.
Oh, and then a couple of years later, last year, in fact, he was on You playing. What was he playing, Mo?
Oh yeah, he was, wasn't he? He was
a
the
pedophile.
Producer guy. Yeah.
Oh, he's a stand-up comedian who was a pedophile.
Yeah, he was stand-up. Yeah. Who had the little room downstairs with the photo book. Yeah.
He got killed. That was him. So yeah. So it's let's be honest now. Let's kind of preface it. It wasn't like little kids. Depends on your opinion on how sensitive you are to this. But he was hitting on 16, 17-year-old girls, which in America is illegal in most states, not all the states. Yeah, that's the mad grey area with America, man. It's different as you go around. And if he's touring, then is he breaking the law? Morality-wise, obviously, going to be like, he's in his 30s. But legally, can he go to jail?
I guess isn't the saying, ignorance of the law is no excuse unless you're rich or a politician.
There you go. And he is rich, so we'll see. But everyone's turning on him, the knives are out. And this guy was riding high. Mo, we were speaking when we did our Dawn of the Dead reviews, and I was telling you about how Army of the Dead was coming out, the sequel to Zack Snyder's one, and Zack Snyder movie that's going to be on Netflix. He was in that. He's one of those guys. So if this becomes a legal issue, that movie could end up either not coming out or needing to be reshot to a degree,
or they're going to CGI him out and put another actor in.
Yeah. So he was
pioneer that whole face thing now.
Yeah. So this is a clusterfuck, man.
Damn. But do you remember that episode of Workaholics? Because as I read this yesterday or whenever it appeared, I was like, damn, because in that show, like all he wanted to do was like groom little boys.
I remember little bits of it, and then they tried to manage that by trying to get him into gymnasts because they look like boys. And
the reason they did that was because they basically invited him to their house to entrap him, right? But he just turned out to be this really cool guy that they actually really liked, because he took him to like a really hot nightclub. He introduced him to like Playboy like type girls. He was going to get them into like a penthouse party.
Sounds like the freaking character he played in You. Same bloody thing. But
what's really funny is they take him to a gymnastics place, and they go, these girls are essentially like little girls. They're fully formed women, but because like the way that they've been brought up, and they're essentially look like little girls. so wrong.
Messed up. But I'm actually curious to see how long Netflix hold out, because like we said with the 70s show, still there.
Yeah.
Chris D'Elia's stand-up specials that are on there, 3 of them, they're still there. So I'm guessing You hasn't been edited yet. So,
but so I did see a story, but it doesn't seem to be the case, at least in the UK, because apparently his episode of Workaholics has been taken down. And I checked that at lunchtime, and it was still there.
Oh, on Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I have to say it could just be US, and that's another grey area though, because if it's guilty. And we're going into treacherous waters here. So if you're sensitive, just try bear with me as I try and explain the clusterfuck that's in my mind.
Yeah.
But because 16 is legal in this country. It's still morally ambiguous. You know, if you go,
hold on, is 16 legal in this country?
yeah, it's the age of consent. How do you not know that?
I don't know. I've never been in the situation where I've had to consider it.
Don't you remember in school when you were in school and there was like
Hey.
Samantha Fox was on page 3 and she was 16, topless in a newspaper.
Well, I remember Samantha. To be honest, I don't remember that. No.
That was the whole. Yeah, that was the madness of this country. You could be 16 to do all that shit. So so is that because of that case, he isn't considered illegal to be shown on TV here because it's weird. I mean, it's a mad grey madness.
That's a really good point, right? Because in the US, they also have some really strange states where you're actually allowed to get married younger than 16.
Yeah, I heard there's one that's like 12 with the parents' consent. You can be married at 12.
It's they have like these child bride things. Apparently, if you look at the stats, child brides in America is quite high. Like if you compare it to somewhere like Saudi Arabia, like obviously the number ain't as high, but you'll be really surprised that the number is like in the triple digits or something.
Yeah, I think a lot of them probably gypsies because they do have gypsies over there, so that wouldn't surprise me. But still, damn. But yeah, if it all turns out to be true, he's done because there was like screenshots, the girls that are coming forward being put in like the conversations where some of them have admitted that they're still in high school and all that, and he's like, yeah, it's fine.
I don't get it though. When you're a funny rich comedian, right, and you're touring, like you can easily hit on like 18-year-old girls. You can hit on college girls. Why 16?
That shows that it's that kink, innit? He must have. That's just what he's into. The dumbness.
What is the difference? Like being a man in your like late 30s, 40s, if you could pull like a college chick. Now I know that's kind of vulgar, and I'm an old man and should be thinking stuff like that. But if you can do that.
Maybe that's the thing. Once you're famous, the thrill of life drains. So you're looking for any way to kind of find excitement. Maybe that's the taboo of it. I don't know. Say my thing, but it's nuts. It's mad. But what's crazy is that all these clips have coming out from him being guests on people's podcasts.
Yeah.
And like him talking about like there was one podcast where they were like telling a story about a kid who got caught out that he was having an affair with his teacher. And the mum found messages on Snapchat and he was like, how did they find out Snapchat? The message disappears. And once they explain that you can take screenshots on the phone of messages, you could see his face. It looked like the blood drained from his face and he just had this strange reaction like, really?
Oh,
people are like,
oh, shit. Is that how he got caught there? Oh, so has he been using Snapchat
One
thinking...
of them from Snapchat, yeah. That it disappeared. So, yeah, it's strange times, guys. Strange times. Strange freaking times. If you want to hear more about the wrestlers getting caught for this, watch Wrestling Ruckus podcast. Watch or listen. Me and Ryan get into all of that, and we're probably gonna have to get into it next week as well because more's coming out. But yeah, insane.
There's gonna be like no one left in Hollywood at this rate, right?
No one.
Like, if you imagine all the episodes that get pulled because of like cultural backlash and because people are being naughty, imagine the amount of content that's just gonna disappear.
It's mad times we're in, man. But if there was true justice and if people truly took this serious, like legitimately took the whole age of consent and guys who cross that, who are adults who take advantage and use their fame to take advantage of young girls, if they took that truly serious, they would have to obliterate the music industry, the history of music industry, the rock music. Elvis will be gone. Led Zeppelin would be gone. Bowie would be gone. All of these guys are known to be sleeping with like 14-year-olds and 16-year-olds. The women have come forward and written books about when they were groupies, when they were 15. Like, it's up. Everyone knows about it. So how is it that people seem to just Iggy Pop? It's fine, but
we're a more enlightened race now.
But then, if that's the case, then they have to go back and be like, take that shit off of all Spotify.
Well, it's that whole thing again, right? Basically, attitudes were, I guess, different back then. And if you judge people then like you judge them now.
That's what I'm saying. But they did it with Michael Jackson when that Neverland documentary came out and they took all his shit off for a while. And then R. Kelly as well, they're taking this stuff off Apple. Like, why? You can't go one. If you're in it, you have to be in it. If you're not, then don't.
I guess those things were a little bit different. I still remember, wasn't it the case of was it Jerry Lee Lewis? Like, did he marry like his niece?
14? Yeah, his 14-year-old niece.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're in it, like if you're separating the art from the artist, then fine. Then leave all the TV shows on and everything. Bring back the helicopter, all the workaholics and all of that. But if not, and if you want to take that off, then you have to do it with the music as well. Crazy.
Strange times. It's the end of times, Eddie.
Crazy.
We should be praying. We should be reading the Bible. praying forgiveness.
Oh man. So, dude,
right now
it gets weird now. Superhero news. It's getting weird.
Take me to the weirdest story of the week. Like lay the smack down. What the fuck? Sanitize what I've just read.
Okay, you've seen the Flashpoint animated movie, haven't you?
Yes, I have indeed.
So you know what the story is. The Flash wants to bring his mother because she was killed. So he wants to bring her back to life. So he realizes that if he runs fast enough, he can punch through time, go into the past and change things. But he realizes he screws up time and he goes into all these alternative different worlds and different versions of the different characters exist. That is what the basis of the next Flash movie is supposed to be about. The actual live action movie.
That is never getting made, right? Okay.
It's looking like it's actually happening now, though. Talks are happening with all these actors. And Michael Keaton apparently is in talks with Warner Brothers to come back as Batman, as the older Batman in one of these Flashpoint worlds.
To me, this finally seems like somebody at Warner Brothers has their shit together and thought, you know what? This would be a great move. Let's get an iconic man who started the whole Batman movie franchise, right? He was the first person to play Batman on the big screen. Still to this day, people still talk about that film.
There was a movie of Batman 66. Let's show respect, shark repellent. Let's just not this that stuff. Go on. I was actually watching that on YouTube the other day. I was watching a playlist of them. It is a crazy show.
Was it a cinematic movie or a straight to TV thing?
No, I'm pretty sure in the 60s it probably popped up in the cinema. Anyway, but yeah, if they do this, and there's more to the story apparently, because there's news that Ryan Reynolds possibly is in talks as well with Warner Brothers.
Green Lantern?
Yeah. To reprise
I would like to see that. I would like to see that. I would like to see, in fact, I would even like to see another Green Lantern film with him in the role, because he was not the problem in that film.
That's true. He wasn't. But it really does, like you're saying, it does seem like someone seems to have their shit together and is willing to just let their imagination fly.
Yeah.
Kind of the way that Marvel seems to have more fun with with their properties. That they're just having fun. That the Flash could go back and meet this old broken down Batman, and they're saying that he may even be in multiple movies. So he could be like the Nick Fury of that universe.
That genuinely makes me excited to see this film go into production now. And apparently I was reading, I don't know if this is a fact or just theory, but apparently at Warner, they may now just discard the other two Batman films, the Joel Schumacher ones, who Moment of Silence for the Man who just passed away this week as well.
True.
Apparently what they may do is now consider those canon and actually build a backstory around the Michael Keaton Batman.
It gets muddy though, because we have also still got the Robert Pattinson wants to come.
But I guess you could always just say the multiverse, right?
That is true, but people who know the properties, the comic books and all that, they can go with that. But your average audience, they don't understand that. But I guess it's irrelevant because we're not getting a Michael Keaton Batman movie. He's too old for that. He will be like a Nick Fury popping up, I don't know, recruiting people. But it could also mean that we get a Batman of the future, because there was the old Batman who recruits the young guy, and we get the cool suit, and that could be cool.
Which would be Robert Pattinson.
No.
Do you reckon we could get Ben Affleck back as well?
I would be surprised if he came back, because he was scarred. I think it's one of the reasons why he became a fucking alcoholic, because of the criticism he was getting. And he looks like he's got his shit back together now. So I'll be surprised if he wants to come back to that shit.
Like he wants to conquer his demons. It'd only be like for a cameo or a scene or two or whatever.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
So I've gone from couldn't care less about a Flash movie to like, this sounds like it could be epic. If they're thinking along this lines now, right? If they're really thinking Michael Keaton Batman, it makes me wonder what else are they like now considering.
Yeah. But it's also weird because Warner Brothers seem to have this inability to stand up and go with what's morally right with what goes down with their actors, and they have they seem to have given no indication that they want to get rid of the actor after the video came out of him strangling the chick.
That's true. Yeah. So we don't actually know whether he's Flash or not now.
It looks like he is because they've done nothing. They've made no announcement, no press release. They've just kept quiet. Same with Amber Heard. I would not be surprised if she does pop up in the next Aquaman because they just don't seem to. They just see if we keep quiet, everyone will forget about it and then right back.
So what you're saying is they're not overreacting and they're kind of waiting for like the court case or the police investigation to be done before making a decision.
Well, with him, we've got a video, so I don't know what there is to for them to investigation for that.
But as a filmmaker yourself, right, you can make a video look like anything, right? You can edit it, you can do it in a certain way.
There's no edits, man. It's just him sticking his arms around a woman's neck and flipping her to the floor. Like, I don't know. And then Amber Heard's legal team, and they've abandoned her, apparently.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they've been
Hold on, wait. A legal team has abandoned their client. That's unheard of, isn't it?
They probably realize we can't win.
No, but I don't think a lawyer's job is actually to win. It's to defend you, right? And essentially, it's a case of, like how as bad. This is one of the reasons I probably would find it very difficult to be a lawyer. But if you were to defend, say, a pedophile, and whether you believed he was innocent or guilty, you had to treat him as though he was innocent, and you would get him off. Not like get him off, but get him off.
What if they suddenly discover things which they didn't know about and their client has been lying to them and it's like, why didn't you tell us about this? How are we supposed to defend you when all this? Maybe they just figured, fuck this. Who knows?
Damn.
But ain't looking good for
or the only other thing I can imagine is she's just an absolute nightmare in client meetings.
That is true.
Yeah.
It would be consistent with the character that people seem to be portraying her to be.
Yeah. I would imagine she's not going to a cheap law firm, right? They can probably, they probably got a lot of high-profile clients. If they miss a bit of money from one.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. Again, hour and a half. How the hell will we go this long?
Just because I told you, man. I was on net. That's just our running time.
I thought this was going to be like a 20-minute podcast. This is insane, crazy. But here we are at the end. We haven't, again, we just don't have time to go through the emails. So, again, Mo, next week, we have to really get to it.
Episode 200, we will read all the emails that we haven't got to.
We'll do it at the top of the show.
What are we doing special for 200? Are we going to do a retrospective on something?
You always ask me this on the podcast. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to know? Maybe we'll try and get together. We'll grab Salem and we'll finally be in the same room together. Which should be the first time in, 3 months?
Apparently it's been 100 days plus now since it was labeled a pandemic. So it's gone over 3 months. Crazy times. And we're barely halfway through the year. Like I said, war could be on the horizon. What the fuck are we gonna do, man? Trying to talk in that tough talk against India, man. It ain't looking good. When you say war, do you actually mean actual war or the war to actually go and get to see Tenet?
Actually, that's something we never spoke about. Jurassic Park's #1 in the box office again.
Oh, I did. You know what? I was going to add that, and I think I must have got distracted and completely forgot.
Yeah, it's Jurassic Park, and #2 is Jaws.
So apparently there's a whole bunch of like old films that they're planning to release at the cinemas to get people back.
And I think the take for both of those movies is over 500,000, which is way more than they thought that those movies were going to make. So there are people who want to watch movies in the cinema, so they're there. There are people that don't give a shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's about give a shit, right? But at some point, life has to resume and you've got to start getting back. And I guess a lot of cinemas are putting protocols in place, reducing capacity. The staff are all wearing face masks and stuff, sanitizer everywhere. Yeah, it's going to be an odd experience. It's going to be a really odd experience, right? Yeah. And the fact that they are reducing seating in these is I always used to find going to the cinema quite a ball ache. Yeah. It's going to be even worse now, isn't it?
Well, not really, because if you can book your seat beforehand, which most cinemas over here do, then that's great because then you ain't got to have people sitting next to you.
Okay, but think about this, right? So I don't know what it was for you, but to me, I very rarely planned a cinema trip. So just say like on an evening where you think, you know what, I'd like to go cinema tonight.
Oh,
Let me go and no, sold out. Oh, sold out. Because imagine if they're only doing 25% seating, it's not going to take a lot to sell out a show.
true. That's true. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, they haven't opened yet over here, but I think July.
July 4th.
Yeah, so
Restaurants, pubs, cinemas, hairdressers,
the world starts again.
people mixing with different households.
Yeah, so we'll
So
see.
July 4th is our Independence Day.
That's true. Crazy. So, guys, from me, Idris,
I mean, Mo.
from episode 99. Jeez, how I did
Well,
not
no,
expect we would go this long.
199, not 99.
Shit, even worse. That's crazy. So, guys, see you guys next week for number 200. What we're gonna do, I have no idea, but later, guys.
See you, folks.
Oh, shit. Shit.